Killers of the Flower Moon, a movie we've been hearing about for years, a crime epic based on the true story of the Osage murders from Martin Scorsese at age 80, $200 million budget, 3.5 hours long, one promo image that lasted about 2 years, and most notably, zero Marvel superheroes. Well, I saw it and it's a lot. Okay, so when you're describing a movie as an epic, which this movie has been called, and to be honest, I think that term, an epic, is just overdone in movies. I saw someone called the Uncharted movie an epic, and I'm like, okay, society is just cooked. But with Killers of the Flower Moon, this is an epic in every way imaginable. The length of the movie, the subject matter, the star power, the technical craft. I mean, this movie just feels huge in ways that most movies just don't. Now let's start with, unfortunately, the biggest talking point about this movie, which is the runtime. Now, I'm not going to make some declarative statement on whether or not this movie is too long or not. It's not. But I absolutely share that pain with everyone where you're watching a movie and you're like, God damn, this is just too long. The pacing's slow, and because of that, it just ends up boring. Nothing to me is worse than a movie being boring. This movie is not that. Now, with long movies, I like to divide them up in my head into 3 categories. There's category 1, where it moves like this, and it just flies by, and it doesn't stop. There's category 2, where you're aware this is a long movie, but you're not bored by it because it's actually good and the pacing is good. And then there's category 3, which is I actively wish for death. Now, Killers of the Flower Moon, to me, fits right into category 2. I was certainly aware this was a long movie, and once you leave the theater, I think you definitely start to feel that with your legs a little bit, but I was never bored. I never checked my watch, and honestly, I probably could have kept going because I just liked the story so much. Now, in terms of the story, this movie is just a wild web of greed, murder, and injustice. And I love the progression of how quickly things get dark, and trust me, this movie is fucking dour. I mean, there is not a lot of levity in the story, nor should there be, but you're just kind of watching things happen and just seeing the brutality of it all. And honestly, this story is just perfectly suited for Martin Scorsese. The things most people would associate with him and his films are found in this movie. Greed, corruption, power. I mean, they all spread through this movie like the sickness that it can be. And in my opinion, I think the smart thing about this movie is that it's not focused per se on the killing. Because from the trailers, I'm pretty sure everyone knows even before the movie starts who is doing the killings. And let me just say, the movie certainly doesn't hide that from the beginning. A majority of this movie's success relies on its characters. Because at a certain point, you almost become numb to the killings, which is to Scorsese's point, that you're just seeing these people die, and it gets to a point where you're just like, okay, there's another one. Okay, there's another one. You almost start to become numb to it. But Scorsese smartly spends most of that first hour just building up the characters, showing how quickly Leo's character falls under De Niro's wing, showing how Lily Gladstone's character Molly could fall for Leo, showing that internal struggle that you do believe Leo loves her, while also acknowledging that he might be doing some bad shit too. And to me, that is where this movie truly succeeds. I think in the hands of almost any other director, this would be the most conventional crime thriller movie ever. They would take this story, they would amp up the kills in a very conventional way. They would not have Leo's character be as complex, and then boom, we're off, conventional ending, justice, fist pump in the air, roll credits. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but to that point, this movie ends in a way that I just could never have expected. It genuinely surprised me, and I think it's just fascinating what Scorsese is trying to say and how it all came together at the end. I happen to love the ending. I think it is great and fantastic. It is going to be a very interesting talking point for a lot of people. I really want to see it again. Now, as one of Scorsese's highest budgeted movies, I mean, you certainly see the money on screen. The production design is just immaculate. The costumes are pitch perfect. The cinematography is so strong, the way it just moves. But shout out to the score in particular, because not only do I think the score is great, but I love how it's used. This is going to be an odd comparison, but just stay with me here. You know, in Jaws, when the score happens, even if you don't see the shark, you just know some bad shit is about to happen. You feel it bubbling up in your chest. You just are waiting for the shark to appear. I feel like this score is almost used in a similar way. There's a lot of bass in it, and it just feels, anytime that score came on the screen, I just got a little tight. I just knew something is about to pop off here. So I think that is a particularly fantastic shout. Now, the 3 central performances are all great. I don't mean to be boring, but like, of course they are. Robert De Niro does an excellent job. I mean, to be honest, I feel like he can do this role in his sleep. Leo is incredible as always. He really plays up the complexities of his character in his quiet moments and his loud ones. They're just both as thrilling. And Lily Gladstone, who no doubt is the heart of the film, is also fantastic. I mean, I'll be remembering the sounds of her screams and crying for a very long time. And just a special shout out to my guy, Jesse Plemons. I mean, I just love that man. And he's in the movie longer than I thought. I mean, some people had me thinking he would be in it for like 10 seconds. Now, I've only seen this once. As I said earlier, I'm itching to see this again. For now, though, I do kind of wish the narrative of this movie was a little bit more streamlined, I guess, because with the length of this movie, the nature of the story, there's so many names, so many storylines. I mean, it did get a little overwhelming at times, I can't lie. And I'm still kind of wrestling around in my head if I feel like all the pieces fit or if there are just too many pieces altogether. Because while I did think this was very good, I'm not sure if there was any one moment that truly took it up to the next level to be capital G great. I do think the moments with Lily Gladstone and the Osage people are where this movie is like very strong, and then, you know, you sprinkle some Leo here and there, and I think that's where the movie really soars. And because Lily Gladstone is so great, I wish I got a little bit more of her. Without going into spoilers, there's a large section of the movie where I'll say she's rather kind of stationary, I guess you could say, while Leo's the one kind of going out and about. Either way, this is certainly a movie to see, and hopefully if you can see it in theaters, trust me people, a long movie feels so much longer at home than in the theaters. If you can, if you are able, I recommend you go see it there. While I'm not sure I all caps loved it, I certainly think it's a fascinating tale and gripping one told by one of the greats. Killers of the Flower Moon, 4 stars. It's a good one. Now, for all the normal people out there, thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time. Now, for all the crazy psychos who want to know about the Oscars, I can put it as simply as this is like huge. I have my own thoughts, like personally, but this just feels like a double-digit nomination guaranteed. In terms of will it win anything, honestly, I'm a little doubtful of that. I think its best chance would be somewhere in the text because I do really like the score, honestly, even though I think Oppenheimer's got that in the bag. I really like the costumes. I think Barbie's got that in the bag. Production design, I think Barbie or Poor Things has got that in the bag. But I don't know if I can see anything above the line. I'm not sure if I can see any of the actors winning or director or picture, but who cares? I'll have more thoughts on that later. I don't like to talk too long about that at the end of these videos, but stay tuned for another video of that sort. All right, time to watch the new Wonka trailer.